Alright guys, so here I am again with Sumo Spider chassis that I've built, and I'm going to show you guys a new improvement that I've made. I posted a day or two ago how to make your shocks work better for you by getting about a 1/16 of an inch longer travel on them. And on that note I said, well, you know, some people are not going to be happy with that, they're going to want more. Okay, so this is what I came up with. If you're going to be using the droop setup instead of the sprung setup, there's another option that you can use to get more articulation. As it is right now, I have my modded shocks in the front. They're upside down, you know, just because of the looks. It's not like it makes a difference in the way it rides. And I have my new setup in the back. I'm going to show you how to do that in a bit, but I want to show you what the articulation is as of now. And there you go. You get a full 90 degrees of articulation out of your Sumo Crawler. Well, I haven't tried it with the stock chassis, but at least with the Spider chassis, which is that guy right there, you will get a full 90 degrees of articulation while using the droop setup. Now, of course, if you want to kind of balance things out and make it to where it'll work a little bit better for you, you could, you know, maybe put springs in the front ones, or, you know, do whatever kind of mixture you want to do. If you want to put these this kind of modded shocks in the front to where the front of the car will be lower, and then make it sprung in the back, it'll make it look like you know, give it that comp crawler kind of look, and you'll still get a lot more articulation, and you'll still have some springs in the front if you know, want to do that, or in the back, actually in the back. That'll help you with the torque twist. Just an idea. I might try it out, show you guys what it looks like. But onto the actual mod itself. Again, full 90 degrees. This is not something that's going to work for everybody. It depends on your driving style. I am a sucker for articulation. I like to get the best and the most out of it. But this is not something that's going to work for everybody. It's just actually going to hinder your ability to crawl in some situations, because too much articulation will get you caught in some places. So unless you are the kind of driver that wants the articulation, don't try and do this mod, because it's just not going to help you. Okay, to the mod itself. What did I do to make these modded shocks? Well, as you can see, I don't even have a shock per se. I have a rod end from the mini T's, and I have the actual bottom part of the original Sumo Crawler shocks. That's the part that holds onto the rod itself. This part right here is what I've used as a guide for the rod. Now, that rod has to move freely in there, so for that I used the 2mm ball that I put inside of that rod end that came from the shock. That is a 2mm ball. And then for the actual rod, I used a rivet, aluminum rivet assortment. Boom. I just happened to have this laying around from some other stuff that I was working on, and I saw that the rod on these was actually the same size as the rods that I was using on my shocks. It was kind of a coincidence, I guess. So what you would do is you would take the rod itself, take the actual rivet part off of it, just use some pliers and pull it off, and what you end up with is the actual rod. On the top of the rod, there's this tiny little ball, which is what keeps it in the rivet itself. You can see it over here. That tiny little ball. well, that's gonna work as your stop, because of course you don't want it to bottom out and just come off with the rod end, so you're using that little ball on the top as your stop. Just so happened that my second hole on the chassis worked perfect for this kind of setup. I used the rod, pushed it all the way into the mini T rod end, and I used a super glue to hold it in there because I didn't have something to actually thread the rod, so I figured that'll work for me for now. Now, one thing you want to watch, if you don't have this chassis and you have your Sumo chassis and you want to try this just to see what happens, you're going to want to measure everything out, because you're going to have to clock your axles to get the best performance out of them on your original chassis. That is just my guess. I haven't tried it yet, but I'm pretty sure you're going to have to, because if you don't keep that the differential pointing in the right direction, you're going to get too much of an angle on the drive shaft itself. So you want to watch that angle to make sure there's as little of a bend on it as possible, because that robs your power, and it also limits the actual articulation you'll be able to get out of it. And when you're rolling over a rock, if that angle is too much, the back wheels are just going to get stuck. Well, it'll actually hold the whole motor itself, and then you just get stuck in that position. So with the right angle, all the wheels are going to work even when your whole crawler it's going over whatever obstacle. You can see right there, the modded shocks, they give me a lot of room there, but the back ones give me just a little bit more. I could actually get more if I was to I guess mod this chassis to where I could put the hole a little bit lower, but I don't really feel that I need to do that. This is just enough. The only thing that will happen by using these holes, I mean, I could have used it on the one in the back, and that would have actually had me sitting a little bit, would have had them go a little bit lower, and would have actually had the back of the crawler sit a little bit higher, kind of like that. But I kind of like the way you brought it down a little bit, because I like to keep my center of gravity as low as possible. It's just the way that I'm used to crawling. The lower center of gravity helps me with the droop setup. Like I said, I mean, it all depends on how you want to do it. If you want to get more grip on the taller obstacles, then you go with the further out hole, so that rod can go lower and your axle will fall lower. But as it is, I think this is as far as I'll go as far as articulation goes with this guy. I mean, it doesn't get any better than this. If I was to put the front ones as well, like I say, you would go past the 90 degrees and you're just gonna have a screw for a crawler. I mean, this makes no sense. You don't need to have your axles totally upside down. What the heck are you gonna crawl that's gonna require you to do that? This right here is actually more than anybody's ever gonna need, I'm pretty sure. I'm just doing it because it's fun for me. I like to crawl and get in some difficult situations and whatnot. But if you're looking for crazy articulation, that's the way to go. Like I said before, you don't need to do it to all four. If you do it to just two of your shocks, you'll get a much better performance out of your crawler, and you'll still be able to use it, you know, quite well. Anyways, I hope this helps you guys out. Just figured, you know, I'd throw it out there and see if anybody liked it. I'll be posting some videos hopefully tomorrow of how it does at the rocks. Pretty sure it'll be alright. Just hoping it's not going to be too much articulation, but we will see. Okay. Up and down, up and down. Flip it all the way over. That's what a 90-degree articulation looks like on a Spider chassis. Alright guys, there you go. Sorry for bothering you. I mean, bugging you and boring you.